I have asked you to work on your semester exam review a good number of times, and you should be very close to finished, if not finished. But I have not offered a whole lot of help. I mean, I told you that when you were working on it, you were welcome to come up and ask questions, but not formally questions up on the board. So I am going to do that here in just a minute after I give some directions. But of course, if you are not done with the semester exam review, then that needs to be top priority now, because you really need to finish that to get an idea of what your strengths and weaknesses are, to know what you might need to review and study, and what you might need to put on a note card. So, a couple reminders. We do allow a note card on the final, just like the top of your review says, but if it is not a standard 3-inch by 5-inch note card, you won't get to use it the day of the final. You're going to find out 2 minutes before you start that it's not going to be eligible. It's got to be a standard size note card. Also, it has to be handwritten. You cannot type it up and print it on a computer. We used to allow that, and then somebody made a really good note card one year and was selling them to people, which is not the point of that. It's to help you study by making your note card. So it has to be handwritten, and it can only be on one side. You can write on the front, or you could write on the back. So if I was you, I would take a note card, put a big X on one side so you don't forget that, because same thing, I have to check those before the final exam, and if you forget and put stuff on the front and the back, you can't use it, and you're going to find that out moments before you start the final exam, and I can't help you out. I guess it's your punishment for not reading or following these verbal directions very carefully. But we also allow a calculator on the entire final. So there are a lot of these questions that you should be able to do without a calculator, but as you work through this, consider, is it something I could check with the calculator? Because if so, you might be able to do that on the final if you have enough time. And I have mentioned this before, but I haven't given the full details until now. So your final exam will also exemption stuff. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about exemptions. I know that the deadline for applying was Monday. I know that the office has to do a bunch of checks that get sent to us, and then we have to do another check or two. I have not heard, thank you. I have not heard the timeline for when we get that information. So I'm sure they're working on it, and hopefully they let us know as soon as possible, but I don't have more information than that. But the thing I needed to say was, if you have to take the final because you can't exempt it, or even if you can exempt it, you're still welcome to take the final. If you're trying to get your grade up, if you've got a B but you've got a chance to bump it up to an A, you're welcome to take the final. The final exam will go in as a 100-point test, so same size as your other test. And additionally, it can be a grade replacement, but that we would only do that if it helps you. So if your lowest test grade was a 70, and you make a 65 on the final, you will get a 65 for the final, but I'm not going to go change that old 70 to a 65. That would not be fair to you. But if your lowest test grade was a 70 and you make an 85 on the final, then you'll get an 85 on the final, and I can replace that 70 to an 85. So we can do that for one assessment. The part of that I have not told you, because I have mentioned that before, at least once, is that you have to be aware of what that assessment is. I could look up your grades, see how you did on Unit 1 test, how you did on Unit 2 test, how you did on Unit 3 test, how you did on that 50-point half test we did last class, and I can see what your lowest is, but I can't do that for all of my students. It's too time consuming. I can't do that and grade the finals. So part of your responsibility, because if you don't do this, you don't get the grade replacement. You need to look up in Gradebook, determine what your lowest grade was, what it is you're hoping to do a replacement for. Also, you need to be mindful that some stuff was not worth the same amount of points. That half test we took last time is 50 points. If you want to do a grade replacement on it, you can, but it's still going to be a 50-point assignment. So, if you made 40 out of 50 on it, then if you made 100 on the final, you would get 10 more points there. But maybe you made an 80 on a 100-point test, then conceivably if you made 100 on the final, that would bump that one up 20 points. So you have to keep that in mind as well. But if you are not willing to look up what assessments you want to get replaced, then you will not get a grade replacement. I will not do that for you. You cannot do it retroactively. You need to do that beforehand. So if I was you, I would do that today, and I'd probably jot it on the top of my review, and then if you forget about it, and then you come in to take the final, you could just pull out your review real quick, glance at the top of the paper, and then know what it is. You will convey to me which one you're hoping to replace the day of the final. It'll be next to your name. You'll put your name on your test, and then right below it, you can put what assessment you're hoping to do a replacement for. And you can call it pretty much anything that communicates to me which one it is. If you want to call it Unit 1, that's great. If you want to say the 4748 test, I know that was Unit 3, that's fine too. Even if you said the one I made a 72 on, I could figure that out as well. But I just can't. I can't do it. We offer grade replacements for all of my courses, so it's like 120 to 150 students. I can't look them up for you personally. So anyway, so there's the warning of that. Any questions about exemptions? As much as I know, note card, calculator, grade replacement. Any questions about that stuff before I take questions on the final review? Yes.
Do you have note cards that you can hand out?
I have a single note card that you can have. Yes.
Oh, can I have it?
Yes. I'll pass those out later. Honestly, making your note card should be like the last thing that you do. If you guys, I had suggested when you started this review to throw those things on a separate sheet of paper, and if there's a ton of stuff you'd like to squeeze on your note card, then at least you know when it comes time to put pencil to paper on the note card that you need to write fairly small. But if it turns out you only want a couple things on the note card, then you can write quite a bit bigger and make it a little bit more legible. That's why I think you should save that for the end. Also on the note card, you're welcome to put anything on there. I would hope that you don't feel like you need the unit circle on there, but if that's what you want to put on there, you're welcome to put it on there. You want to put unit circle tangent values, you want to put identities you're supposed to memorize, you want to put example questions, whatever you want to put on your note card is fine and fair game. So, yes.
When we're going to find out exemptions?
I already answered that. I have no idea. Yes.
What were those, what was that criteria again for being exempted? It was tardies and then absences.
You have to request it on time. Your overall grade has to be above 80. No more than 4 unexcused absences for that class. No more than 4 unexcused absences in advisory. No more than 4 tardies in that class. No more than 1 major discipline referral, and no fines. Library fines, book fines, NWAC fines, parking fines, student ID fines. And then the only thing we add for this course is you have to finish the semester exam review, since we give you plenty of class time to do that. Other questions about any of the just general stuff before I move into the math stuff? Okay, then if you have some questions on the final exam review, go ahead and let me know what they are, and I will do a quick little refresher on them. Anything from the review? Again, I know you guys have had some chances to ask, but I have not asked or given you the opportunity to see anything worked out on the board. So this is your first chance for that. Also, this is the same thing we'll be doing on Tuesday of next week. So it's not like this is your last chance to get questions answered, but if you have some questions, there's no sense in putting it off. Yeah.
So the exam should be on Thursday next week?
I don't know the schedule, but yes, it's Thursday. I think it's right after the second period final. You really need to go to your school email, look at student announcements, and there should be a schedule in there. Like the first test of each day starts when school starts, so like your first period test is when you would normally go to first period, your second period test is when you would normally go to second period, but advisory is at the end of the day, and there's only 1 lunch instead of 3 lunches, And so some of the other tests start and end at kind of unusual times, so you have to actually look that up. I just don't know what it is.
If we get all of our finals done, do we have to stay for advisory, or can we check ourselves out?
You cannot check yourself out as a minor.
Okay.
Your parents can call and excuse you, as always. I suspect, like most years, if y'all are new to this school or whatever, but most of the afternoon, because you do have one test in the afternoon this year, but all afternoon is advisory. And if your parents expect you to be here, then you need to be here in advisory. But if they're okay with you not being here, just have them call and excuse you. But on the other side, you know, if you're going to study for a final at home anyway, you might be a little bit more disciplined if you make yourself stay at school and do it first. But if I was you, I would not stay during advisory. But as a minor, you cannot check yourself out. Your parents need to know that you're here or be okay with you not being here and call the school. They need to know what you're doing. Okay. Anything else at the start of class? I'm sorry? 28? Let's see. '28 is a good one to ask because we actually did not cover that this semester, which also means that it's not something you need to worry about for the final exam. But I'll go ahead and talk about it real quick because it's good for you to have heard this. When this says use Triggs substitution, it basically just means you're going to plug this in over here. So instead of saying x squared, I'm going to put 3 cotangent theta squared. And then if you do 3 cotangent times 3 cotangent, that would be 9 cotangent squared times this 9 gives me 81 cotangent squared. Do you see where that's coming from? Okay. Now, to simplify this, the most common mistake is people like to take the square root of this, then put a plus sign, and then take the square root of this. But that doesn't work that way. If I show you like this is really the square root of 25, which is supposed to be 5. But if you just try to take the square root of the first part and then the square root of the second part, you're going to think that it's 7. And of course it's not 7. The trick to simplifying this is to factor a GCF. And then this is should be one of your Pythagorean identities. Let's see if we divide everything by sine squared. So instead of saying 1 plus cotangent squared, you could say cosecant squared. And now that these are not terms being added or subtracted, but instead they're factors being multiplied, the thing times itself to give you 81 cosecant squared would be 9 cosecant. 9 cosecant times 9 cosecant is what gives you 81 cosecant squared. But again, you don't need to worry about that for your note card or for your studies because we did not get to that this semester. Yeah.
Will these things on our test be on here when we take the final?
I'm sorry?
Will these things be on the test when we take the final?
No, you should not expect that. If you don't know those and you have memorized them and you don't want to be bothered to memorize them, then you're going to need to put it on your note card. Okay, other test review questions you guys got ready to go? I do have a spot in Google Classroom for you to start turning it in, especially those of you that are trying to be exempt. If I was you, I would finish this as soon as possible, get it turned in. At some point I'll get a chance to scan through those And if you missed something, I could maybe let you know before it was too late. But
Can we turn those into you just in person, or would you like them on the classroom?
I would prefer classroom. I will take them before the semester test. The day of the semester test, I'll take the hard copy. If you just had issues or something. Bless you.
Thank you.
The thing about the Google Classroom, though, is it gives me a chance to kind of scan them and give you some feedback if it doesn't look complete without physically taking it from you, and then you don't have it to study, and you might need it to study again. So. All right. Well, of course, you guys are welcome to ask questions as you find them. But if you're not done with the semester exam review, that should probably be your top priority. If you know you need to practice some of these skills more, that would probably be the second most important thing. If you have some stuff to re-memorize, that's probably pretty important. And if you feel prepared for all of that, you might want to start putting together a note card. I do have enough note cards that I can let you have one. You can't have several for like studying, but if you need one just for this class, you're welcome to one. Who else would like a note card? Again, if I was you, I'd put a big X on one side so you remember not to write on the other side. Anybody else want a note card for me? Again, you're welcome to put anything on the note card you want. Example questions, identities, unit circle, anything you want. But keep in mind, you will have a calculator for the whole final, so that might sway some of that. And it has to be this size note card. It has to be handwritten and only on one side. I guess the only thing that would not be okay on your note card is if you just like have the answers. Question 1, answer A. Question 2, answer B. I don't have to ask questions. No. Not Google Classroom, but probably like that. And videos for pretty much every one of them. Not all of them, but pretty close.
Mr. Kane just had a question about absences.
She's going to be doing lunch stuff this time of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, she helps out with a lot of that. At some point, when the pass comes back, you can go down there real quick.
See,
But, yeah,
gotcha.
if it's going to be more than like 5 or 10 minutes, then you need to come back and try another time. to me when you come back.
you.